Hey everybody, how's it going? Funny, in my last bike video I did, a bunch of people commented saying, man, that motor sounds much quieter. What'd you do to it? A really easy answer for you. Started pedaling. Pedaling makes the motor much quieter. It's very, very cold here right now. I got these really thick gloves, but they do nothing. It was 18 degrees the other day. I got these 3M Kingsbone gloves. I got home. Erica politely opened the door for me because I couldn't make it to my keys without pain. I walked upstairs and I spent about 20 minutes walking back and forth going, ow, 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 shaking my hands. So I'm pedaling. If it even makes me feel like it's 5 or 6 degrees warmer outside because I pedaled, then I'm happy. It also just happens to coincide with my quadricep feeling like it's fully healed. I tore my quadricep 3 years ago. It made pedaling on a bike up a bridge or anything like that much harder, or even just pedaling in general. It's weird because lifting weights, I got over that being painful maybe like 9 months ago, but pedaling was still painful. Which is strange because you'd think, squatting 300 pounds should be more painful than pedaling a bike, but I guess injury doesn't tend to make a lot of sense. Anyway, so there's a lot I want to discuss, but I'm not quite sure where to start. It's probably going to be quite a rambling video. So, I guess I'll start with one of the new things that's been coming up in a lot of the comments on the new space. And I want to kind of have this be a discussion, not just on my space, but maybe a little bit of how construction appears to be done in New York in general, how you deal with businesses when things don't go to plan, luck. It's probably going to encompass a bunch of different subjects. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to discuss, besides the fact that it seems like this road that was one way is now one way in the opposite direction now, that's lame, oh well, is I'm going to go up to 4th Street to make a right to go down to 1st. Silliness. Can't believe I forgot about that. There. So, let's go over a lot of people saying that I should have a designer, architect, even not that, just somebody who does drawings to give to the contractor so everything is worked out before you have them start. I completely agree with you. That's precisely why I agreed to give somewhere around $7,000 or $8,000 to some professional firm with architects to do just that. Well, why did things work out the way they did if that's what I did, you may ask? Because you can very easily pay someone for a service and not get that service, or get that service done very, very badly. But you can't wait to find somebody else to do that service because you're paying $400 a day in rent. So if you wait to find someone else to do it and you put everything off, whatever you may save in time and hassle, you actually make up for in $12,000 a month going down the drain. So I hired a firm, though I heard about based on word of mouth. I did a little bit of lookup to see, just what their reviews are, what their online presence was. I actually visited some of the places that they had credited themselves with, and they look pretty nice. And I also spoke with them in person. I didn't trust my judgment because I tend to have terrible judgment when it comes to hiring contractors in general. Over the past 10 years, it's just been something that Steve, he always laughs about. I always manage to find the worst possible contractors, even if I'm not shopping on price. So he met the person as well when they bid on the 30th Street location and thought that they were a great person. He thought it was a good person, honest person. He was actually the first one to give a real quote. There was that one guy that gave that $150,000 quote to do one room, and when he broke it down to us, he broke it down to about $70,000 of stuff, which even that was complete bullshit. If you listen to that video, it's hysterical. His voice starts to go up when he hears we're getting other bids. He's like, oh, okay, oh. It was so funny. A lot of the people that showed up to 30th Street to give bids, some of them actually spent an hour and a half there drawing every single little thing, and then they just said, yeah, we'll get back to you in 3 to 7 days or so. And I never heard from them. It's just weird, because I get if you meet us and you say, screw this project, we're not doing it, or just quoting something high so that we say no. It's really weird when somebody spends an hour and a half asking questions, drawing everything up, and then just never gets back to you months later. He ignores your calls. But so this is one of the people that showed up that actually gave us a quote. It was nicely laid out. It wasn't a perfect quote, but it was within the realm of being reasonable. And he's easy to speak to, easy to discuss details with. So when we found out we were taking this different space, I said, I may not need construction services from you, but I see you offer design services and architectural services and all of that. And I'd kind of like somebody to really look at how we do business now, and then see how we do business now. Where is it that where are there inefficiencies that are resulting from things being placed improperly? Where have we built things wrong? What materials should we be using? Where should things go? So he gave me a package, and I agreed to it. Included in having a real licensed architect on the project and all of that. And so I paid a deposit of around $3,100 to $3,500, somewhere around there. We were going to pay the rest of it when it was done. To helping manage the project. And some people said, this is, why bother with this? This is kind of dumb. You guys know how your business works. You don't need some architect to do this for you. Just tell the contractors what to do and have them do it. Like, no, I'm not managing my own project. I managed 186 First Avenue. And you can see how that turned out. This store is it's a nice shithole. It's my shithole. But it's a shithole. Let's be real here. So I wanted to have a professional do that. The first fail here, and this is in the video that I did where I said, using nonsensical industry jargon, it will discredit you to your customers. This place said that it would cost $20,000 to change the CO, and if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be able to do much of anything properly. That wound up not being true. They said they would get back to me shortly. That was a month ago. I'm still patiently waiting. I don't expect to hear anything. Then when it came to colors and other types of design choices, I would only hear back usually maybe 2 days later, sometimes 3 days or more over email. If I called them, they would hit the ignore button. You could tell when somebody hits the ignore button because when their phone is off, it just goes straight to voicemail, no ringing. And if they don't pick up, then it will go to voicemail after 16 or 30 seconds. But if it goes to voicemail after like 4 or 5 seconds, they purposely hit the ignore. And when we finally would hear back after those days on things like color, by the way, look at that person that did all that work, almost cut me off so that he can make his way to the front of the red light. Don't you feel special, you little infinity driver? Anyway. They would send us like maybe 3 or 5 different swatches of things, and I said, okay, where does this go? Like, is this wall in that ceiling? Is that molding in that wall? I need clarification here because I don't understand what that is. I fix laptops. And then I would hear back days later. And this is the kind of engagement that you expect from somebody who's essentially doing you a freebie. If my dad says, oh yeah, my nephew's friend's brother, whatever, may be able to help you out for free, I would actually expect more engagement than I was getting here for about $7,000 or $8,000. They gave us drawings that ignored everything that Paul talked about regarding pass-through slots, how to build it. All this stuff was just completely ignored. And it made me sad to see that was all ignored. It made me sad to see that I wasted over $3,000. So I gave him a call. It was too late in the project to actually use their input on anything. I'm not gonna deal with babysitting somebody that is supposed to be doing something that we can kind of get done ourselves for $7,000. We're already halfway into the project. It's like, I don't need you anymore. So, and we went back and forth. They said, very reluctantly, we'll give you back maybe $1,500. I kind of wanted back at least $2,000. I talked, the small claims court was brought up. That was a week, they agreed to give me some money back. That was a week ago. They haven't given any money back, so I imagine I will be going ahead with small claims. And shit like that just kind of sucks, Because I planned to do things properly. I planned to have somebody managing the project. I wanted to pay somebody to actually listen to what Paul and Steve had to say, show up, create drawings, like really like manage the project, not something where we have to call you 3 times and email you over and over to get a response 2 or 3 days later that's barely answers what we ask kind of shit. No, it is what it is. So one of the things that comes up here is, whose fault is that? Whose fault is it that they created drawings that ignored the stuff that you said? Whose fault is it that they gave you incorrect information? Whose fault is it that they weren't involved in the project? And that fault would be assigned to the person riding this bicycle. You know why? Because I'm the business owner, and it's my job to choose the right person for the project. Now, I checked the references, I looked around, I saw the places they did, I had other people in my company speak to them, asked them, what do you think of these people before going? And they all said it was great. But at the end of the day, it really was down to a coin flip. It was these people or a couple of other places. And they seemed like they would do a good job. But they didn't. And I'm sure they do a good job for other places. I'm sure for other places, when they're getting 100K or 200K or 400K for the project, they actually care. But for me, they didn't. So one of the first things that's interesting about New York business is that you can very easily spend $7,000 for someone to help you pick out colors, make design drawings and mock-ups, and have them not give a shit and not really care. And that's one thing I think is interesting to explain to people outside of the city, is that in New York City, there are so many large companies here, large financial firms, banks, franchises, with millions upon billions of dollars. And the good contractors are all focused on working for them. They're not interested in your measly S7K. They're busy with the other stuff. That's why they give you their trainee or their assistant that isn't really prepared to handle it, or is just putting you on the back burner. And I don't think people that are in the heartland of America can really comprehend what it's like when I say that. But it is true in many ways. If you do not have the requisite amount of money to compete with the other people in the area that are asking for similar services to you, you just ignore it. And it also comes across with contractors themselves. So I know it's not me. I'm not saying this to pat myself in the back, but it's, if you walk into a lot of small businesses in New York City, they are rinky-dink shit. Even those delis, the ones in Midtown, you know, not the old style delis, but the ones that really did well, they get the LED, recessed LED lighting in the ceiling, changing color shit, $3,000 televisions for each of their menus, because they want the contrast and the text of that menu to look beautiful. None of that cheap Vizio shit. Even when you go into there, if you really look, like go to the bathroom or look in the corner, you'll see where all you'll see where all the corners are cut in the construction, and it was done to look nice, but it's the construction equivalent of a franchise board repair. And the reason that in Brooklyn and Manhattan and Queens stuff looks like that, I believe, is because all the contractors that are doing the perfect jobs, they're doing those perfect jobs where the money is. And if you're in the middle of, I don't know, Olathe, Kansas, Brookfield, Wisconsin, Guatai Mountain or something, it's not like you're competing. It's not like you have contractors who can choose, I can either build this for a bank or I can build it for you. Who would I rather? It's, you know, there's a limited number, so the good contractors in that area are going to be available for the small business the same way they are for the large business. Whereas in New York, it's not really like that. And I speak with other business owners here that experience the same thing. And then you have the people that will make time for you, that do have time for the smaller businesses. But they're often going to be the people that weren't able to hack it, that weren't good enough to get the jobs that paid way more from the people who could afford it. So you're kind of stuck with the scraps. And one of the things that I remember mentioning a while ago, anytime I go on vacation, when people say, what don't you like about New York? When I go on vacation anywhere else, Olathe, Kansas, Brookfield, Wisconsin, Allentown, Pennsylvania, almost any place in Florida, even parts of California, it's that the shit doesn't look all rinky-dink. Stuff doesn't look super rinky-dink. It's just properly constructed. Things look nice. People have lawns. Things are uniform. Whereas in New York, so much shit is half-assed. You either have places that look expensive and beautiful, or other places that look like total shitboxes. But there really is missing is that in-between. And part of the reason I think that in-between is missing is because the places that actually have the money to hire the best do so, and then the people who are the best are busy with those projects, and they just don't have time to make for you. Because I'm really thinking about this. You know, I spoke to a lot of these contractors. This is back when I thought I would actually have a real budget, or I had a chance of getting an actual business loan. And I said, like, I'm expecting this to cost me between $100,000 to $400,000. And many of them show up, and I get what? I get 2 bids out of 5 or 6 contractors, and then for this store, I got 1 bid, 1 real bid. I say real bid because one of the other ones I got was ridiculous for reasons I'll discuss in another video. I had like 5 people show up to this place too, and I called a bunch of them back after work today because I'm just really curious. Like, I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm not going to 1-star you. I just want to know, why is it that to renovate a space, not even new construction, just renovate a space, that the prospects of 150 to 250K just wasn't enough for you? And one of the guys from the company that I wanted to use originally, with Anna, he apologized. He said, honest, he's a very nice guy. You know, he said, I started it, we even though we do multi-million-dollar contracts now, I started with my bag of tools in 1985. I still oversee everything. He goes, honestly, there's just too many other projects with too much other money, with too much more money. Like, I'm not saying this to belittle you, it's just 200K really isn't much of a project to us. It's actually going to distract us from other stuff. If I took your project, there's a risk that I miss another project that's going to pay me so much more money. And I'm stuck dealing with this. And it's hearing that from actual contractors, that my theory in my head was actually correct, just blows my fucking mind. But it really, it reminds me why so much shit is rinky-dink and done this way. But it's not in other areas of the country. And it also reminds me why when I go to other areas of the country, I'm so amazed at just basic shit. It's not like having a bunch of houses that look decent. These like middle-class homes, one after the other, is so amazing. But just the fact that it doesn't look like a shoddily patched together shithole next to a Hilton hotel looking like place is amazing to me. And seeing the craftsmanship people put in is also amazing to me. Not amazing craftsmanship, just normal craftsmanship from people that care. That's all it takes. Now, when it comes to the person that I chose to help manage the project and also do all that architectural stuff, the person I mentioned in that video on using jargon, ruining your reputation, that company, I'm not going to name them right now because if they do actually wind up giving me my money back, I have no intention of taking them to small claims court or 1-starring them or shit-canning them to a large group of people. But that company, honestly, a lot of that at that point just comes down to having shit luck. And it's something that you have to remember in business. The head doesn't get too big with the good stuff as well as the bad stuff. So a part of why I'm successful in my business is I think that, you know, sometimes, every now and then my brain happens to work, and that in the beginning, I didn't give up. I asked what my customers were calling me for, what separated me from everybody else. I always focused on offering what it is my customers wanted, I worked 12 hours a day, and I also was in the right place at the right time. I just so happened to be in the right business in the right time. A lot of it was that. And with this I chose a place that had good references, that had a few good reviews, not a bunch, but enough reviews that had done work for other people at some point that didn't suck. I walked into the places they did, looked pretty nice. I hired them. After I hired them, they showed up, and they did a shit job for me. And they ignored me. And they provided and they were difficult to reach. And they ignored me. Now, is there a way I could have really told that beforehand? Like I had 2 people at my company, in addition to me, really interview and grill you. We spoke to you for a long time beforehand. We looked at your references. No, sometimes you just get fucked. And part of business is not just writing a plan. A big part of business is what do you do when things don't go according to plan? What happens when your plan fails? Because people act like people and do stupid things. Or they get busy and they pass you off to their assistant or new hire who sucks. What happens when the people that you pay for services don't render them? And admittedly, even we do this. Not on a regular basis, but I'm not going to say that with over 29,000 tickets, 30,000 tickets over 11 years, that we've never shortchanged a customer. I'm sure we have. And when they bring it up and I look at the ticket and I read through it, I'll just give them their money back and apologize. Here, you want something? Here, you can take this. This has been in the window for a while. It hasn't sold. Here, you deserve to have something working. Here's your money back. My apologies. It's going to happen. It's just going to happen in business. A big part of it is luck. But the thing is, success in business is when you have bad luck, how do you handle it? Do you keep going? Or do you just get depressed and give up and say, fuck it, life is not fair? Hi! How's it going? Somebody's trying to cut me off the road. What a cunt. Oh. There's a garbage can in the middle of the road. That's just some good, nice New York shit for you. This area drives me nuts because it's supposed to be 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, but you can go 35 and people still get pissed off at you if you're only going there because they want to go 40, and it's lame. And the really lame thing is it's those fuck faces in that Jeep up front, and I'm gonna catch up to them and pass them, but to pass me, they had to try to cut me off the road, and just lame. Just lame. Because they're a car and I'm not a car, I can just go right in front of them, like this. But anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah, a big part of it is luck. You just hire the wrong person. Sometimes it happens. And when it comes to luck, I remember there was this one place that started doing business the same time that I did. I learned about them in the beginning of 2009 because my friend and I got a bunch of calls saying, when I don't have any image, and I'd say, tap really hard in the upper right corner of your phone, and they go, oh wow, I get it, what happened? Just bring it in, I'll show you. This one guy that never put the pieces of foam back on the screen, and because he never put the pieces of foam back on the FPC things for the screen, they would pop off easily. This guy actually got covered in, I think, CNN Money or CNN News, some CNN something, and some sub-series of CNN, and he fixes an iPhone, and the thing doesn't even work. You see the woman try to swipe to unlock 3 times, and they pan away to go back to interviewing him. He didn't even plug the fucking shit in, and he still got featured on television. He got featured by the New York Times in an article about how awesome his repair shop was. He wound up getting way more business than me in the beginning, and it's not even like he didn't know his bottle numbers or know how to fix boards or anything like that. He didn't have a fucking clue what he was doing. And he was raking in over 6 figures a month less than a year into his business. And a big part of that is luck. I was next to this person at this party and they heard that I'm trying to do this thing. And oh, I work at the New York Times. Let me write an article about you. Oh, I work for CNN. Let me cover you even though you fucked up my iPhone right in front of me. Now granted, this felt quite unfair This guy was, the white guy wound up going out of business actually earlier this year. Somebody who used to work for me wound up taking over his name in his shop. But, where was it? Yeah, this is also a guy that wound up promising all his employees a raise at the end of the year, actually cut their pay by about 10 to 30%, but he forgot to set his Facebook shit to private, so his employees could see that while he was saying he had no money, he was actually traveling to Europe and South America and going to these awesome parties and paying for like all this liquor and stuff out of pocket. And they, two of them actually left to start their own businesses. One of them actually took a course of mine 4 years ago and is a good personal friend. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so this guy that had this 6-figure business, he exploded long before I did. He was doing better than me for a good 5 years. And a good part of that is luck. So, and I accept that. I accept that sometimes I'll have good luck and sometimes I'll have bad luck. You know, like when I look at my employees, like people like Paul, people like Steve, people that can figure out missing PM sleep S4Ls that nobody else can. Or people that can recover hard drives that Drive Savers or other companies said, this will be $8,000 and he recovers it for $500 or $600. People like that just decide, oh yeah, I do customer service and Lewis only expects me to do that. Let me stay 2 hours late today to figure out how to do hard drive recovery so I could add money to his bottom line even though it's not expected of me. You know what hiring somebody like that is called? That's luck. Now, did I happen to create an environment that encourages people to try to do their best, that lets them know, even though I don't say it out loud, if you bring more money to the company, that I'm gonna share that additional money that you brought to the company with you? I don't know if you saw it, by the way, but that light post said woman abuser on it in graffiti. I'm not quite sure what that's about. Yeah, I do let people know that. And I do try to let people know that I appreciate them. I do let people know. And I try to give them an environment where they know, if they say, Lewis, you should buy this because it'll help the business, that I'm not going to skimp on it. I'll just get it if it makes their life easier. But at the end of the day, finding employees that are that engaged in helping me manage a project, or that engaged, or that I'm just going to figure this thing out on my own time by staying 2 or 3 hours late. I'm just going to figure out what the boot sequence is in the new T2 MacBook Pros, and I'm not even going to tell Lewis I stayed here so that he can pay me overtime. A lot of that stuff is luck. It's luck. The same way it was luck when I found that first person. I mean, the same way it was luck when that other guy wound up getting all these articles written about him in spots on television, even though he couldn't replace the screen on a fucking iPhone 4. Or an iPhone 3. Or probably any of them. And a big part of business is when you have good luck, you roll with it, and when you have bad luck, you make it work anyway. And you know what? I had a stretch of bad luck there. I had quite a few stretches of bad luck, pieces of bad luck. I've been at this store for 8 years, and I can't get a loan. I hired somebody to help me do design, architectural, drawings for contractors. They didn't do the job. And I kind of pushed myself into a situation where I had to get things done quickly. Maybe I would have been in a mindset to find a new one, or just put construction and all of that on hold until I had everything up front perfectly. But if I had, if I had the additional 200 or 300K in the bank that a successful business would, that I could just set aside for construction and nothing else. But I didn't. In my mind, I had the mindset of, I'm paying $400 a day. I need to get this done as quickly as possible. I hired 1 or 2 complete idiots. Just move forward without them. And that's what I'm going to do. And I think part of the lesson is that if you have bad luck and your competitor has good luck and you persevere through the bad luck, then your business will be, that's the right thing to do for your business. Would it be nice to be able to just have the good or even normal luck to be in business for 8 years, be able to apply for a business loan, just get it? Absolutely. Would it be nice if you find a firm that's 4.5 to 5-star rated, has good referrals, sounds good in person, that when you hire them to do a job, they just do it? Oh yeah, that would be great. Sometimes it doesn't happen. But life is balanced, because I know that the other businesses, when they're looking to hire somebody, they're not getting a Steve, they're not getting a Paul. When I put out an ad for a board tech, the first person that showed up is Paul. Do you have any idea how lucky I am that that happened? That's like somebody like that showing up that can figure out the things that he figures out. That is a 1 in a million find. 1 in a million. That's not skill that I found, Paul. And that's going to make me look good compared to other businesses, because other businesses are not going to be able to solve boards that he does, and they're going to disappoint their customers. But I'm not. Crap, I can't believe they're still delivering mail at 11 o'clock on a Friday. Damn. Or finding someone like Steve. You know what I had that day that they showed up? Luck. That I put out the job ad, or I told people I'm looking for somebody the day I did. Because if I said I'm looking for someone even a week later, someone else would have showed up, because Steve would have been working somewhere else, or Paul would have been working for some other company by then, and I would have got somebody who sucked. And if I had to trade the luck or the circumstances of having a great designer and architect that made the process completely hassle-free, got everything right in the first try, or I had to choose the luck of having Steve and Paul work here, or Camille work in here, I'd choose the latter. Every day of the week, for sure. Every single time. There's no traffic here, so I'm gonna do the New York thing and jaywalk. And it really is interesting when I go to other parts of the United States and I see how the things there are not rinky-dink. And then you come back to New York and it's just this. It's like, look at how rusty this van is. It has graffiti on it. It's like rusted to shit. It's like, it's not just my building. It's not just the contractors that are working for me. It's just everything, everywhere, all the time. It's just all rink-a-dink shit. Like here, you got this beautiful new construction, Corcoran, condominiums. Look at that. It's like all fancy and shit. And I'm gonna go one block down, and you're gonna see probably crap with wood boarding up the windows. Let's see if I can find it actually. Like that's what Brooklyn is. Like look. Like other places you have lawns. Here you have, I don't know if you could see it because of the auto exposure on the phone, but it's just like random moss growing up out of uneven patches of sidewalk. You got there's moss coming up out of uneven patches of the sidewalk. There's glass all over the sidewalk and the bike lane. The roads are all uneven. It's like a mindset, and it really does. It just trickles down to everything. It's not really just me finding a contractor for my store and only hearing back from the people that are not going to do the job the way I want. Or if I look at seeking out a design firm or architect and realizing that I hired people that if they're not getting at least $50,000, they're just not returning your phone call kind of people. It's just everything. Yeah, I'll go to the next block and I'll show you what I mean. I actually want to go somewhere else to show you, but my hands are a bit frozen, so I gotta go inside soon. I can already tell I've stayed out long enough that when I go in, I'm gonna be shaking my hands for about 5 minutes going, ow, ow. Alright. Screw the red light. The red light doesn't care if I get frostbite. Whew. I think I may show the wood boarded up stuff another time. My hands are a little bit too cold at this point. I think you all get the point of what I'm talking about though. I don't got to explain it to you. If you've ever been in New York and then you've been to any other civilized section of the world, you know what I'm talking about. Those are my theories, my thoughts. I'm still excited to see how everything turns out. I will see you all later. Thank you for watching, listening, subscribing, tolerating. See you in the next video.